Hi. Hi. This is my recap for the anime, a playthrough of a certain dude's VRMMO life. If you like my recap, please consider subscribing. The story begins as a 30-year-old salaryman sits at his desk to play a new VR game. He puts himself down for being an old geezer, but points out that when he's in a game, he can be young again, and he can do things that he can never do in real life. He starts by naming his character Earth and creating the most boring-looking character to ever exist. He knows that Earth doesn't stand out, but explains that he's not the type to be the main character anyway. He isn't a complete degenerate, as he actually works for a living, so he can only play 2 or 3 hours a day. He fears that he might cause trouble for other players if he tried to play with them, so he has decided to go solo most of the time. As for picking skills, he opts to pick mostly things that were underpowered or trash during the beta. This way the hardcore gamers will leave him alone, and he can play the game at his own pace. The medicine skill, pretty useless, since potions are available cheap from NPCs. The kick skill has no special attacks, so you can't beat enemies with just one attack. Both have really bad accuracy. Sneak has a high MP cost, and if you move, it's easy to find you, so it's not good for running away from monsters. The improved physical ability skill supposedly gives a bonus to running, using a weapon or crafting. But it's a small bonus, so if someone wants to be strong, they should pick something more specialized. With these skills, he has possibly created the worst character in the history of any game ever, but he wouldn't have it any other way. By picking skills that are underpowered, other people want to avoid him like the plague, so he can just relax and play his way. He finally enters the game, called One More Free Life Online, which is named that because players can enjoy another life there. There's no big beat, the final boss quest, so players are free to spend all their time fighting monsters, or being a craftsperson who specializes on making items, or they can just hang out and talk to other players. Basically a game for people who hate their terrible real lives, would rather just exist than the metaverse. The place is completely because packed. It's the first day of release, and some random girl calls Earth over to sell him some equipment. Before he can go, everyone marvels at some returning heroes, and Earth points out that there isn't a single archer among them just then. A guy that decided to dress up like a gold medal picks on Earth, and Nurse can only think about is a terrible way to start his first day. Sir Glimmers a lot points out that bulls are useless, and mocks Earth for being weird. He calls Earth a dork and a loser, and hides Earth's face using the concrete floor. Earth feels terrible, and the walking trophy case decides to just leave. It's clear that people really don't like archers, but Earth is completely okay with that. At the training hall, Earth gets excited when he sees others training, and decides to give it his best too. Unfortunately, the only target he manages to hit is the ground. He quickly realizes that he is hardly able to shoot an arrow at all, but it's determined to get better with practice. He continues to fail miserably as he hits everything but the target, and he realizes that it's even less accurate than what he heard. 100 shots later, Earth celebrates, reaching level 5, and tries out his kicks. Succeeded with theirs, and they encourage Earth to not give up. The announcement mentions something about this just being the first half. Their blind spot. His wind spell is able to defeat one of the little bunnies, but he wants to try out his sneak spell to sneak up on one. He points out that while the bow never hits, and you can't use sneak to run away, putting them together makes them really strong. Knowing the hardcore gamers will stay up all night, but he has to work in the morning. The next day, Earth eats some terrible tasting bread and decides to make his own food. He goes all Gordon Ramsay on the steak, seasoning it to perfection, but realizes that he has no clue what he's doing. The dish is given a score of 2. Earth makes some adjustments the second time, but he wants to get it points higher as he channels his inner Iron Chef. Everyone in the vicinity after smelling that receipt, but all the townspeople arrive to demand some. Earth doesn't want to sell, so he gives it a ridiculous price. See that they are willing to pay. He then spent the entire evening cooking, which rates his cooking level to 20. The skill that allowed him to cook much faster. Earth decides to make a bow. There's no demand so for archers have to make their own. His first bow is as simple as can be, so it only has a score and an attack. His next bow has several upgrades. He uses 3 pieces of down some parts, so they fit together better, quite the and it has an attack of 12. Finally, Earth upgrades his extremely bland appearance with some armor and checks his stats to be pleasantly surprised by progress. Earth is running out of money, though, so he puts some food items in a vending along machine with healing potion he wants to test out afterwards. We see that Earth has made a lot of progress as he defeats several powerful beasts. Fighting is much easier with his homemade bow and leveled up skills. He returns to the vending machine to find several nice letters complimenting everything he made. Everything is going better than he could ever imagine, but it doesn't last as long. They are, so he might be able to get. They've gotten stronger. His fairy in the second half. On top of that, the broken item didn't disappear, which means he still has another chance. Kawaii with hair so red, and he tries his wind spell. It could give a lobster sunburn. Is relieved that they have solved one problem, but can't help wondering about another. Why do all the fairies seem to like to find that Earth's it's more accurate than his arrows? Thanks for watching the first couple parts of this recap. Subscribe and ring the notification bell for more parts. With all the minimum skills he needs to survive, Earth decides to head out into the field, but finds that it's a complete mess. With all the new players, he decides to focus on gathering herbs, but finds that players are not able to tell what things are after picking it up. So he tries to appraise it, but appraising several times, and it works. He notices that one of the herbs is more deadly than a death note with unlimited pages, as it instantly stops the breathing of the person who eats it and kills them. Earth is furious that the dead will and is glad that he learned how to appraise. After buying Earth tries to make healing potions. Earth gives Walter White a run for his money, and somehow manages to make a common healing potion with a healing and antidote. Finds that once he has made one of something, the game allows him to make batches of them. People can get potions for really cheap, which means no one will want his medicine. Skill level reaches level 7. So Earth decides to go hunting. Now, it's emptied out quite a bit. So Earth gets first dibs. Earth thinks about how bows don't fire quickly. So the first shot is really important. Of course, and the bunny comes for revenge and then gives it a knee to top it all off. Earth acts like he's going for a goal, and Earth determines that he's more of a kicker than Annie. Greet Earth. The one names away can hardly contain his laughter. Since he heard the bunny make a crazy noise he never heard before. He states that humor is justice, leaving Earth to wonder if he's a comedian or something. The girl's name is Millie, and they ask Earth if they can send the way is hype when Earth lets them, and says that they can become a top comedic to get more experience. He quickly realizes that the bunnies aren't stupid. Notice him, even when he tries to attack. And smart, really hard to beat. Kuwait seems to have his head in the clouds, though, as he ignores Earth's concerns and states that once they are done, will cook them something delicious. Everyone but Earth couldn't be less excited. Moments later, Earth detects some wild bears but are in a party, so they choose a target and gang up on. The others point out how handy the long-distance vision and realize that having Earth around is pretty valuable. Millie buffs emergency the as they prepare to lure away one of the bears, and Earth decides that he will separate from to use his sneak skill. He puts an arrow right back of the bear's neck, but surprisingly doesn't have a plan for when it gets mad. Luckily, who looks like a castle that grew arms jumps into take the aggro. Earth explains monsters have a hidden parameter called aggro that shows who they are angry. Rage is with a high defense, so he'll direct the enemy's anger towards him and protect them, while the walking fortress does that. Earth goes in bushes so he can attack from a distance. Millie heals Rage and Nora jumps in to do some damage as well. The others attack, but they all realize the bear skin is too tough. Millie uses a fire spell on it, which manages to get the beat's attention. So Rage reacts. The fight is getting pretty tough, and the human fire hydrant just now realizes that he might have underestimated their opponent. Earth sees that are turning bad and decides that he needs to make a quick, decisive call. He decides his 38 years of life experience and make a risky bet. He only has one between its eyes, assuming that it's the bear's weak spot. It seems to have worked, but it actually doesn't. And everyone wonders if they will be wiped out. They are in disbelief to see that it has so much
and Earth
HP.
decides to
use his last option.
The others are worried
for his safety,
but Earth just
straight
dies.
in and uses a spell he learned
level 15
for just 10 seconds.
It gives a huge
to move
boost.
speed. Earth uses it to shove his
deeper
arrow
into
the beast skull, and Millie
that
follows
up with
a powerful fire spout.
The beast is
finally destroyed,
and the others
realize that the fight was
much tougher
than expected. Afterwards,
Earth
feeds the group,
and everyone
at how
marvels.
good it is. They all wonder
If it's expensive
to make
delicious
such,
food.
but Earth explains that it's not.
The only
that the
problem
food cannot
is
be
this
bought.
is because
there's an unspoken rule among crafters
that they don't
trade recipes.
One reason for
this is that
coming up with
the recipe takes
a ton of time
and money, and the second reason
is that too
people making the same recipe can end up with
products of widely
different quality.
Recipes are
the product of
are soon
all brutally
attacked by a new system.
He returns to the town to find everyone
Everyone
for
searches
someone
the
with
medicine skill
and desperately
for
shout,
someone to
Earth
sell
is
them
confused.
potions.
Since he thought potions
Bought
could
from
just
NPCs.
and the way
The
explains
NPCs
saying
are
that they
don't have any.
This is terrible
Since
for
everyone
Earth. will be begging him
for the potions
He left
in
vending
the
machine. It happens sooner than
So
expected.
Earth
tells everyone that he's
putting
a limit on how many they can buy. He also makes them an absurd price, but everyone
Easily
still
agrees.
The kind letters
Vending
on them
machines
for him
turn
to
to
hurry
demands.
up. And his friends
way
arrive
is
to
in
help out. Charge of crowd control. And Millie offers to handle
Earth
the
runs
money
out of potions
for the day.
So Harry Potter
And his boy
decide to come back tomorrow.
The walking trophy
Makes a
case
second
and
appearance.
demands that
Earth give him
all the potions
Earth
he has.
declines.
So
Sir
a lot
Glimmers
threatens
Earth
their lives
finally stands
for
up
himself
and reveals to
the bully that
the townspeople
are desperate,
and he's actually the one in danger. Earth tells him to wait,
just like everyone
but the
else
walking disco
tries
ball
to just pay him. Earth warns him not to,
since if the
NPCs
they will
also
have to
stop selling
depend on
weapons and armor,
craftspeople, and the bully will have to learn
how to get along
the guy
with other
just
players. Like an academy
refuses
award.
to be lectured and challenges
PvT
Earth
the
warns
way.
him not to.
But Earth won't let
Anyone boss people around
Earth accept
and decides that
use
he
the
will
bully's arrogance
to help him find a chance to attack his weak spot.
Goldilocks
Off
starts
with a powerful attack, but Earth easily dodges it. He instantly
the
finds
guy's weak spot,
and sends an arrow right through his neck. Of course,
the bully is
and
shocked.
Earth is announced the winner.
Earth is extremely
his
humble
victor and
about
tells everyone
that he will have more potions
Earth logs
tomorrow,
off thinking
confidently,
about how his day was a success
and assumes that
probably
those bullies
several
will.
days pass after the incident where the potions disappeared.
And Earth
the
became
most
we
important
find
guy
that
around.
the
world of the game has changed.
Medicine
just
is
a
no
useless
longer
learning that
considered
NPCs can run out of inventory. Cosplayers to
the
rethink
medicine skill.
Earth returns to the
Where
game
he thanks
for
Kwai.
inviting him to the guild.
He is the leader of Kuwait,
Who has so much
he could
red
stop
on him
traffic
without a crosswalk.
has the other members of their team
Introduce themselves.
starting with the
Behemoth of
giant
a man named Rage. He is a tanker and he uses a one-handed
and a
axe. shield. This guy is enthusiastic
for a guy named Rage,
and he explains
that he will
the
aggro
enemies for them all.
Another member named
Introduces
Nora
and
herself.
explains that she mostly does
melee combat
with short swords. The final member
is Casimir,
and he is a masterful
who
swordsman.
uses a bastard sword.
Earth begins to
But they
introduce
interrupt
himself
him.
since there is no need.
The human
explains
stop sign.
that Earth has made quite the name for himself
After he
one
introduced
bully
that,
to one of his arrows. Everyone is talking about
how strong
but Earth
he is
thinks
now. How
about
that guy
was just a low skilled buffoon, and Earth didn't like
want
to
Earth
stand
points out that their team
since
is
they
pretty
have melee
balanced.
fighters, one mage and an archer. However, it turns
that
out
really
can use more than one element, and Nora use
can
healing magic.
Kuwait with
so
hair.
red even the sun won't shade from it. Explains that their first target
A
is
tough
one.
Since it's a wild
The
bear,
excited
expresses
group that they can do
confidence.
it, but Earth has no clue where that
Coming
is.
from
Kawaii with hair, so red, charged
sonic
Sonic
clouds.
Day hears him and explains that it's because they have him to hard carry
Earth
them.
tries to explain
He hasn't
that.
even
seen a
bear
wild
before, but he has heard that they're fast. The hard work and creativity
of the people
who made them.
Recipes can be copied,
but quality
and the
cannot.
same is
True for anime
recap videos. Kawaii wearing
so much
he
red
might be
responsible
for global warming.
suggests that Earth should always cook
For them,
really
for
cheap, and they all
Earth
agree
obviously
would rather not do that. But no one listens to our humble protagonist. Everyone does
For a
ask.
friend.
Invite though, and with that,
Earth's first
adventure with
was
a
a
party.
success.
However,
Very
we
nice.
find
That
out something
terribly
has gone
wrong.
A look into
Not
the
so very
distant past
shows that Earth
soloed a monster and gain the confidence to enter the forest.
In the 5th area,
he ended up attacking the wrong anthem, and it called.
More of its buddies
doubled on
attacking
but
it,
found
can
that
reflect.
damage Earth couldn't move as his body went numb, and he realized
He
that
was doomed.
Earth took a
Penalty
and
from
was
dying.
worked back to town.
Our
mature adventure acknowledges that it was his own fault for being arrogant
and
determined that he will just have to do better next time. Just then, all players receive a message about an
major
upcoming
update
called the Fairy Ball. In addition to
Arts
new
and
they will
skills.
be adding in new items for crafters,
As well as fairies
that will support them
in their
Earth
adventures.
instantly realizes that other players are going to be leveling up too, so he can't get hit with any more penalties. Dying
from.
later, we see that Earth has his
worked
way out from under the heavy penalty and learned blacksmithing. Being the grudge holding adventurer he is, Earth decided to make an arrowhead that could pierce
The rock ant skin.
First, he
Two
got
types of iron.
one was
For
basic iron.
piercing.
The second was
Intended
bludgeoning
as a
weapon. So he used a pure form of iron for that. Attaching the iron arrowhead made to a
arrow
wooden allows him to create an iron arrow with 7 attacks. After that, made a mace like arrowhead. For bludgeoning, Earth is certain
that he will
encounter
eventually
more enemies that can reflect kick damage, and on top of
Kicking
that,
doesn't
let him equip
a weapon.
in order
So
to
both
solve
those
problems. He decides
Some
to make
sweet
looking murder shoes. He finishes
his prototype,
which has an amazing 12
but
attack
determined
that he still has to test
out
it to make improvement. Just then, a couple of jerks
to
show
call
up.
his boots.
Weird
They
looking. Wonder if they are
or a
boots.
weapon.
Birth proudly
Explains
it's
that.
both, and the guy stopped being jerks out of amazement.
Later, our
Buys
protagonist
some bow strings, and the shop girl points
how
his
scary.
feet look. She can't
How
believe
brutal
sounds
it-
when Earth explains that he planned to shave
some
down ants, and she thought
was
he
just a
as
chef.
for his bow. Earth explains that he has reached archery level 30, has
and
decided to specialize. He has 3 choices: short
Longbow
bow
and
hunting bow. Short bows
Easy
are
to use,
but they have
a limited
They're
range.
not good for him since he is not a melee fighter. Long bows have range and power, take a long time to fire. They're not good
for solo players.
This means he
should probably
the hunting
pick
bow, since it's got
the
same range and power as what
he's been using.
That's exactly the skill he chooses and points
out that
a
it's
more powerful
skill, so
get
he will
more of an attack bonus. With that done, he begins
his
to
new
make
bow
and chooses
a design
the
he
blacksmith named Black
What
Seas,
he is working
and
on,
is shocked as he has never
a
seen
bow
like the one Earth is making. Earth finishes soon after.
See
and
that
we
this
very
bow
hefty
has a
32.
attack the bow.
He calls the expo needs more
strength
pull
to
back
his
than
old
one, but it feels
and it's a
great.
lot
More powerful.
Earth than shows
His sentimental side
as he tenderly
caresses his old bow and
whispers words
of gratitude, thanking it for all it's done for him. He gets over it quickly though,
and is
try
excited
out
to
his new bow. The next day,
boy returns
to the forest with eventual
determination
that rivals
Naruto's
drive to become.
He
Hokage.
finds
that
one
isn't linked to any others and lights it up with his bludgeon arrow. The dumb ant tries to reflect the damage, finishes
Butters
it
it
with his pointy arrow. Earth isn't done though, as there's still plenty
to
of
be
vengeance.
had, so
He commences the bludgeoning
as he stands
before all the destroyed ants. Earth probably
proclaims
fought
his victory.
hard. It doesn't seem
Like he has
quenched his insatiable
for revenge,
thirst.
however,
As Earth
their
drags
corpses
through the town, he has a good reason though, and that is
that their
can be
exoskeletons
used
for crafting
armor. Just then,
it is announced
the
that
fairy ball is about to
Earth
begin.
is
See a
amazing.
contract
Appear
before
crystal.
him, and he hopes that he can make a contract
with a wind
since
fairy.
he is
Archer
an
with no
monsters
it's
around.
safe to
give it a try.
So he begins the ritual.
Earth watches
and
amazement
as the crystal vibrates
with intensity,
but it breaks,
and so does Earth's spirit.
Later,
Earth meets with the guy that looks like
he's sponsored
by volcanoes and tells him about his
fairy
failed
ritual.
Everyone else